Okie dokie. Cool. Well, Kimmy and I had a lovely session about diction last time, and we talked about a whole lot of things, mostly space and vowels and consonants. And then at the end, if you go back and watch it, you'll see a little bit about creating time space in your life, and then also physical space in your life, like looking at your calendar and seeing where you have those blank spaces and how we can more align our time spent with the person that we want to be, the singer that we want to be, the artist we want to be. And then physical space as well. Like, it looks like you have a nice little upstairs space there that you can sing and feel comfortable singing. And even if it's just creating a little spot on your desk of something that reminds you that you are a singer, that you are a musician, like, it can be super helpful just to, change your environment, which, as we know, changes kind of how you see the world and believe in things. So that was kind of the gist of everything we talked about last week. Um, but we also talked a lot about vowels, which I know I've given you guys all, that feedback before, that if you're having trouble getting to a note or something, a high note or a low note, it can be helpful just to give it more space, like to let your pharynx expand a little bit, find a little more of an open tube instead of a closed off tube. So that is kind of triggered by the vowel shapes that you're doing, for a couple of reasons. Number one, just so the air and the sound has somewhere to go, because if you're closing it off, then it's going to get stuck. But also, when you release some of these muscles, especially this chewing muscle, like the jaw muscle and the tongue muscle, it's all related. It's all connected to these outer muscles here. And so when this is more relaxed, it triggers your neck muscle to relax. And when you smile, your neck muscles get involved too, right? It's all related, which is why it's so hard to sing an E really high without opening back here. Otherwise, it goes E, right? So it really helps remind your body that we're coming from an open place. And throughout notes, you're giving yourself that space, even if it feels like you're pronouncing it weird, or if you're like being not real about it. It's singing is a different world in vowels. So we kind of have to just be okay with feeling like you are choosing a different way than how we would normally pronounce it when we're speaking, you know? Yes. Any questions about all that so far?
No, I just found it helpful to think of it as the cathedral thing. I don't know why I like that image. So I kept on thinking, like, there's a
Mm,
little thing in my mouth that's like, yeah.
uh-huh. Yeah.
And that
Uh-huh.
was
That's
helpful.
nice.
Just
Good.
singing. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Yeah, I never know which metaphors are going to land with certain people, so I'm glad that
I
works
love
for
it.
you.
I love that. I'm also for
I have
it.
all kinds of weird metaphors, as you guys know by now. And then the consonants part is the other half. It kind of is the icing on the cake when we're trying to uh, be understood. And a lot of times when we're speaking, when we're thinking about enunciate, we kind of overdo it and we over vowel and consonant, and we do so much, and there's tightness in your tongue and everything. And so we kind of have to lay off a little bit, especially in pop music. Classical, they want you still to enunciate, but that's because most of trained opera singers have the ability to keep this space as well as enunciate without it affecting what's happening in here. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, find the space, find the enunciation to a point, but don't overdo it so that it's creating extra tension. So most of the time when I teach like people who are just starting to get this concept, it's more of a thinking of put the essence of that consonance on the word instead of focusing so much on the consonant. So like, we'll get into it in a second. I have examples, but mostly just focusing on how much your tongue is getting over involved, how much you're maybe smiling too much, putting a little too much tightness and tension back here with the horizontalness of your mouth, and just letting everything be a little more released and relaxed because, again, that's going to connect to here. So, like if I'm saying the word feel really high, that can be a tough one because if I would just say it like I said it now, feel, it sounds very tight, very overdone on the L, like there's so much tongue in there. But if I were to sing it, I would just loosen it up like I just went to the dentist. I can't feel my face. And then create some extra space in the vowel and lighten up on the L. So it'd be more like feel. Yeah, it's just a different way of approaching it, different way of seeing it. So when you see those words on the page, I want you to start to get used to kind of analyzing that word, all the words, and saying, oh, I know that E vowels are tight, so I'm going to open it up and vertically. I know that L's, I have a tendency to over tighten my tongue, so I'm going to just put a quick little tongue touch on there. And so every time you're singing a song, as you're looking through the words, you're looking for those spots that you're more likely to be caught up and stuck on. And so you can write out different pronunciations above them just to remind yourself to sing it in singing accent if you need it. If you're in the middle of your voice, you often don't need a lot of this extra adaptation. But this is for higher notes, lower notes, big belty notes, things that are already tonally, vocally hard. You don't want to add any extra tension from this stuff. So just a thought or two. Yeah, anything else about that?
One thing I wanted to add that I noticed when I was learning Adele's Daydreamer, it's kind of the not like the reverse of what you're talking about, but still along the same line. So I noticed that when she says you can find him, like I was saying, you can find him, but I noticed she was saying you can find him, so
Mm,
it was very light on the eye because it's like you said, it's like harder to do the E vowel sound.
yeah,
So I noticed that she was like, because is much easier. Uh,
totally.
that was something I noticed, and I was
Yeah, exactly. And that's her stylistic choice. That's how she picked to be the most artistically pleasing to her, as well as probably the easiest for her to sing. But yeah, that's a really good example of stuff to notice. And as you start to watch, like, if you go back and watch like opera singers, you'll see how they change their vowels like a lot. Like it's such a good rabbit hole to go down if you're a singer. Just like go look up some opera singing videos and just how weird it looks when they're saying certain words. Like they'll say world like world, like they just look like they're saying wow. But it's amazing what the human brain can infer and decipher when you know what to look for. And so this is where the tone comes first and the lyrics come second. Um, because that's how you got
right.
to do it to get that sound out.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense because many times, um, sorry, Lisa, because many times, like I'm like, what? Like I can't even. Most times I have to like Google what the lyrics are because I'm like, what is she even saying in this song?
Mm,
Like it sounds really good, but I can't even like hear what she's saying. So
yeah,
it makes sense. Like it's kind of secondary to the singers to actually like to enunciate because it's not a speech; it's
yeah,
an art.
yeah, exactly, totally. We're gonna add something, Louisa.
I was just thinking about like yees and like I don't know. Sometimes I hear like in certain types of music like well the first thought was I think sometimes consonants can and I've observed this, I don't know if it's true, but they can be used as like a stopper to the vowel, which I find like helpful because I feel like it changes from one note to like like I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. I've
Yeah,
noticed picked up on that. I don't know if that's true. um,
absolutely. Yeah, Yeah,
Like,
and I
you
mean that's how
know,
we learn stuff is just imitating those things when people do that. Yeah.
yeah. And I feel like I sometimes listen to I love Jewish music. Like I'm Jewish. I listen to I don't listen to like classical music, but I listen to um some things that are, and there's definitely like a lot of I don't know if this is the right term, slap, like ooh, but it's like fast. Like Billie
Mhm.
Eilish does it a lot. Isn't it lovely, love? And she kind of like draws it down and like brings it down to her stomach, and I love that sound. And I feel like I've been trying to find that sound and like reclaim it, but I can't. I don't know if my voice has changed or what, but like I love. It's like it's not the siren, but it's like a, you know what I mean, love, and then you
Totally, just slidey all over the place. Yeah.
ID. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I just
Yeah.
want to find that again. I think.
I love that. Yeah. I think you're closer than you think you are for sure. Because once we really find this solidity in how you're enunciating things, you can pretty much do anything on any word. And that's what I want you guys to feel like you can do. It doesn't have to be only on all vowels or something, you know. That's kind of why we do space before the flowy runs and stuff, just so we have this ability to be nice and flexible with how our space is created before we even sing. So yeah, I think you're totally gonna get there. And Billie Eilish might be a good entryway to that, you know?
Yeah.
Cool. Love it. Okay, sweet. Well, let me pull this up. Okay. So, we're talking today about onsets and offsets, which is very much related to vowels and consonants. Because if you can guess by the word, onsets are how we start the note, and offsets are how we end each note. And of course, this informs the transitions between notes, between words, and how the whole phrase flows. So, kind of like we were just talking about. So, like how we start and end each word with diction informs the flow and the tone and the sentence meaning. So, like in English, we end up putting together a lot of ends and beginnings of words, and we kind of squish things together in order to be able to speak faster. And that is a choice, you know, it's sometimes a colloquial way of speaking, but in singing, it's more of a choice. You get to decide, do I want to connect these two words and take out the second onset altogether just to make it easier, to make it flow a little better? So it's interesting to look at the different kinds of onsets and offsets. But first, I thought I'd just revisit this guy just to make sure that we are feeling like we're on track. So just take a look at all of these real quick. Where we've been, grounding, understanding where our voice is, finding the air, holding space for fullness while we're giving out, taking care of our energy, being present and knowing how to take care of our voice, learning how the breath fuels it. Now we're over here on space. I really should change the order of these things. It doesn't make sense. Um, Visualizing your tones on the 3D palette, as we've been talking about recently. Always looking for where you can hold more space to create ease in your tone. That's really what we're going for today. And last time we talked about creating and finding space in your life for your artist self. And so here's where we're going to after this space, after we kind of wrap up this space in the next couple months, going towards flow first. Because as I said today, we let the tone define the lyrics, not the lyrics define the tone. Tone comes first always. And then noticing tension and when it happens, just being able to pinpoint it and release it without judgment. That will help you just continue on through a song without hesitation, without stopping and holding. And then, as always, looking at that gremlin voice and noticing where it comes in and holds you back from that flow for whatever reason. You know, we all have different fears and hesitant things. And it's been really interesting to work with you guys all individually and see how that literally relates to specific technique things, places where you hold yourself back because of that gremlin voice. And it's cool to see you working through all those too, which is fun. And then finally, the last month of the program, we're going to be doing lots of allowing. This is where the fire comes in. This is the riffs and runs and magic stuff. And it just comes from finally finding full trust in your voice because you have all of these things set. And this is, I think, the most important one. I stopped trying to make things happen and let magic happen. It's all about allowing. So that's where we're going. I'm excited. And it's going to be great. But first, we have Dr. Dan. So he's going to tell us a little bit about onsets and offsets. I just love how he explains these so clearly. So you can be practicing along with him as he's giving examples as well. But first, an ad. As usual.
We've all heard the saying, it's not how you start that's important, it's how you finish. Well, in singing, that isn't always the case. Let's talk onsets and offsets.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
Sorry.
Hey there, my name is Dr. Dan.
Sorry, what?
The Australian.
He is Australian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love his accent.
Yeah.
Is it too loud? Can you hear it okay?
Oh no, it's perfect for me. I just heard how so that isn't always the case.
Yep. Yeah. It just, I mean, that stuff's interesting to look at too, with different people with accents and how they pronounce their vowels and watching their mouth too.
Yeah. I think after our last conversation, I'm like more attuned to it. Like when I hear people's accent, I'm like, it's interesting how their tongue or the space that they're taking to say certain words.
Yeah, exactly. So that can be an extra credit level if you can tap into what he's doing. Okay, here we go.
And welcome to Voice Essentials, where we develop your voice and improve your sound. I'm so glad you could join in the fun. Today, I want to briefly discuss the alpha and omega point of your singing. That is the start and the finish. Every note has a starting point and a finishing point. These two events have a massive impact on your singing style and, believe it or not, your vocal health. The terms we give to these two phonatory points are onset and offset. Onset refers to the manner in which the sound is started by the laryngeal mechanism, and offset denotes the way in which the sound is concluded. But as is often the case with learning to sing, there's a little bit more to it. You see, both the onset and offset have three variations: glottal, aspirate, and simultaneous. And if we want to be really nitpicky, there's a fourth, but we'll discuss that later. In today's video, I'm going to demonstrate all 6 variations and provide you with some practical exercises that I think you'll enjoy workshopping into your own sound. Now, the basic building blocks of onset and offsets are the muscle to air proportions and how the singer chooses to balance the two elements. As we continue through the video, keep in mind that each of the onsets and offsets is simply varying the mix of air to muscle ratios and the resulting muscle activity.
Sound check.
The best place to commence is always at the beginning, so let's discuss onsets to start. The onset of a note is so important because it often drives the emotional interpretation of the subsequent notes. Let's have a listen to the 3 different onsets. The glottal onset, sometimes referred to as a hard onset or a glottal attack, is formed when the vocal folds close forcefully before the air and resulting sound commences. The glottal onset sounds like this. Ah, ah. Notice how we can hear a forceful attacking sound at the very front end of the phonation as the vocal folds attack the glottis before the airflow has fully commenced. The aspirate onset, often referred to as a breathy onset or a soft attack, is virtually the mechanical opposite to the glottal onset. This time we'll place a H in front of the vowel, which will give us a whispery edge to the front end of the sound. Have a listen. Ha, ha. The aspirate onset can be used to commence a breathy quality into the following phrase, which can be used to communicate intimacy and ambience, or ambience as some people like to say, whereas the glottal attack will denote strength and energy. When used wisely, these two onsets will empower your emotional connection to your songs and in turn, your audience. But be careful. Glottal attacks and aspirated onsets should be employed consciously. That is, these two onsets should not be habitual because they both carry a high cost for the voice and, if overused, can lead to significant wear and tear. I always orientate my private singing students to form a habitually simultaneous onset. Now, sometimes called a balanced or a neutral onset, this third onset requires an even flow of breath with an equally balanced action of vocal fold engagement. Using the same R vowel, this time we'll place a Y in front, the resulting sound, ya, ya. Hear how the starting point now has an evenness to it. And as a side note, for those of you who are working with my exercise CD, you may have noticed that I instruct you to always commence the sung activities with a ya. Now you know why. I want you to be able to develop a simultaneous onset as a healthy, sustainable habit that you then choose to alter occasionally with a glottal attack or an aspirated onset. Now earlier I hinted at a fourth onset. The fourth way in which the voice can commence sound is called vocal fry. Actually, many singing teachers, and I'm one of them, don't generally assign vocal fry, often called creaky phonation, to the list of onsets because whilst it is a mechanistic activity that sits somewhere between a simultaneous onset and a glottal attack, it's also the bottom register in your voice. Pedagogical arguments aside, the vocal fry sounds like this. Ah, ah. It's easy enough to hear why we refer to it as fry or creaky. The vocal folds are literally pulsing together without actually creating any clear tone. Before we talk about and demonstrate offsets, be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you're learning something from today's topic.
Sound check.
So let's get straight to the point. Offsets are the exact opposite to their counterpart, onsets. So a glottal attack offset will sound like a pinched note because the vocal folds are, once again, attacking the glottis with a pressed action. It'll sound something like this. You'll often hear glottal attack offsets in genres like pop, which employ short, clipped phrasing. The aspirated offset, often heard in jazz ballads, forms extended notes that move to a breathy, whispery sound as the vocal folds discontinue their oscillation while the airflow is maintained. The result, ah, ah. Finally, there is the simultaneous offset employs an even, balanced end to the tone. It's neither clipped nor breathy. Some people find simultaneous offsets the hardest to create out of all the onsets and offsets because your sense of overall vocal coordination has to be well developed. If you're struggling to create the even balance to your offsets, try singing an A vowel. A, A. The A vowel is a diphthong, a complex vowel with two sounds, A and E. The second sound of E allows the voice to finish the sound more smoothly. Sound the A vowel a few times and then see if you can replicate the same sensations of breath and muscle when using the R vowel. So you'd go A, Ah, Ah. It might take you a few goes, but stick with it. I know you'll get it with a little bit of practice. As always, I really hope today's video has taught you something about singing and how your voice creates sound. Leave any remarks or questions you have about today's video in the comment sections below. I'm always eager to interact with everyone.
Thanks, Dr. Dan. He's just the best. Okay, so any questions about that so far?
I had a eureka moment that I want to confirm. Is aspirational onset the thing that the habits that I have where it's like always ho ho ho?
Yeah,
Is
exactly. Yep. And that's why I wanted you to kind of feel a different way because, as you said, it takes a lot of pressure and pushing when you do it so often. So occasionally it's good to sprinkle in as flavor, but I don't want you to be relying on that to get to certain notes, you know? Yeah, it can be definitely a habit that is hard to break, as you've seen, but you're killing it. Like, you're doing such a good job. That last video you posted, I can tell you've been working on it. It's really good. Yeah, good. Okay, cool. Can you still see that?
Yeah. I'm not exactly so I didn't hear or see the glottal one. Is that just like the normal?
So glottal is a kind of an attack, like a hard one. So it's what he was doing was uh uh
I
you can
see.
kind of hear a little extra push or a little extra attack on the beginning. Uh uh so your vocal folds actually start all the way together and it's just like a uh
Okay.
hmm
Is there a non-offset? Like when you just go ah?
That's a simultaneous. So this is what he was talking about is ideal.
Oh,
So you don't want to start the sound here and you don't want to start it with ha. You want to kind of be somewhere in the middle. So it's not overly breathy and it's not overly attacked. It's just a nice, even, balanced tone, which would be more like ah, ah.
mm.
You hear how there's no attack and there's no breathiness?
Yeah, yeah.
It's right in the middle. Yeah. So you got all these things to try, and then you have this vocal fry, which is like Britney Spears. Oh baby, baby, right?
Mm,
Like
yeah.
90s pop is exactly vocal fry all the time. So let's try these real quick, just so you can try them out and test it out and see if you want to, play more with it. So yeah, try it out. Kimmy, do you want to go first and try out a glottal onset?
Okay. Ah, ah, ah.
Exactly. Yeah, I can hear your vocal folds coming together. Good. Do you want to try a breathy one?
This one is easy.
Yeah.
Ha, ha.
Yeah. Okay, now
And
simultaneous.
ah, ah,
So
ah.
that one was a little better. Yeah. So you want to find the happy medium in between. I feel like that Y that he was adding to it, the yeah, is the best
Yeah.
way of explaining how it feels because there's
Mm-hmm.
no breath in it. You're just starting with sound, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Try that.
Ah, ah.
Try it with the Y on the
Yeah.
front. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And now slowly take the Y off.
Ah. Ah.
Close, yeah. It's still a little bit teeny bit glottal. I
Mhm.
want you to think about the sound just kind of appears right in here. Ah,
Ah. Ah. So it's like when I'm talking, I'm ah. Is it?
even even that, the beginning of that ah is a teensy bit glottal.
Ah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
To me, I
Yeah.
think the best example that I can think of right now is more like a oh, not a oh,
Oh.
not oh, oh.
Oh.
That was a little better, yeah.
Oh. I can feel how much softer it is on my throat
Uh-huh.
to do the simultaneous one, but I thought that would be the easiest one. It's surprising that it looks like glottal is probably what I do most times. And then breathy is when I want to, and I think I want to sound good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get that.
So I
Yeah,
need
it
to
like you said, it
train.
takes time to build that muscle. Just like when we're finding a mix between the chest and head, it takes a lot of practice.
Mhm.
Yeah, good. Okay, you want to try vocal fry?
Yeah. Oh, 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 ah.
Yeah, a little more of that attitude, like that. It's really people use it in pop music to express like emotion, like desire or like
Yeah.
frustration or something. Like oh,
Yeah. I feel like there's something like sexy
yeah,
about it. Like, oh, ah.
exactly. Yes, you got that one down. Good job. Nice work. Good. Louisa, you want to try 'em?
Yeah, I feel like I've okay. So I'm trying to think of Billie Eilish. Billie does this a lot, right? Billie Eilish.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it isn't it
Yeah, that's a great vocal fry. Yep.
um so glottal like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah. Eh.
Okay. And then breathy. Isn't it? I don't know. That's harder.
That was great. Yeah, Billie Eilish is actually a great example of all of these
Yeah,
because
she
she
said
she
that.
puts
Yeah.
plenty of differentiation in these all the time. She does breathy quite a lot. Isn't it love? Yeah.
I see.
Heart in a glass. Yeah.
I really hear like the intimacy of that. Like I could see that. Yeah. Am I doing it right though? Like, hey, are you supposed to do a like a H on purpose, like it's silent, or is it supposed to be there? Like, is it supposed to be?
It's an H on purpose for sure. You're just letting more breath through, and that usually sounds like you're adding an H on the beginning.
So, isn't it lovely?
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so isn't it lovely? Is that
Do you hear a teeny little bit of glottal in there? It's hard with the I because in American English we say isn't it? Hey, isn't it your birthday? Isn't it, you know? But I want you to think more of the sound starting more forward in your face, like in your cheeks. Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah. Try just try it ah.
Ah,
And it's not
ah,
ha or it's ha.
ah, ah, ah,
You hear chords coming together?
ah. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
that's glottal. So bring it a little more, a little lightness to it. Take the weight out of it.
Ah, 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 ah. I don't know. I just want
You're
to do.
getting closer. Yeah, I know. It's weird to think about it so deeply, but yeah. Try with the Y, like I was doing with Kemi. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
You see how it just sound just appears? It's not breath and it's not closed that's starting it. It's just sound. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, that makes sense to me. I don't know
totally.
what you. Okay, so like it's just this the sound. It's not the. Is that what you said? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It's not breath that's starting it, and it's not attacking coming together to start it. It's just sound just appearing.
Okay.
And the Y is a great way to start it because that's all it is. It's a y, it's a e, but without the glottal. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's a
yeah,
difference between yeah and
yeah.
yeah, right?
I sound like a donkey. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But okay, wait. So glottal is more like like this and then aspirate,
hmm
uh, uh, and then uh,
A little more forward, a little more Y. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the feeling I want you to follow. It'll take a little bit to get to take the Y off, but
Okay,
that's how I want you to feel it right now because when you first started it, your tendency is to go glottal. And honestly, most people's is. So it's not a problem. I think just thinking about it now is going to help you find that and feel that if you're playing around this week.
okay. I'll
Yeah.
remember that. I'll write down the yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the offsets are even weirder because we hardly ever think about how we end words.
I have
So
a question.
yeah,
So the onset, in practicing, will you say it's they kind of map to different areas of the like the 3D mapping that we do?
yeah.
Because I feel like the simultaneous ones, the glottal one feels very testy.
Hmm.
So does the vocal fry one.
Yeah.
And the simultaneous one, I'm finding it very hard to create it in a voice that is lower.
Mm.
Like with my, if I try my head voice. it's, it's it. Yeah, I just feel like it's easier with the head voice, but it's like very difficult to do it with the chest. So, will you say it's like it maps to those different?
A little bit. I mean, just based on where I was pointing to, right? Like when I was getting you to do simultaneous, it's in
Right.
here. And H's are very much like, ha, it's kind of like back here for me because it's all about what's happening in here for the other ones, right? So glottal is in here, aspirate is in here, vocal fry is in here,
Yeah.
but simultaneous is here. The sound is technically coming from here, but the start of the note is not so intensive, like intense. It's not so
Mm-hmm.
one way or the other. It's not so extreme one way or the other. You're, like you said, it's balanced. You're not closing your chords so hard, and you're not leaving them open for all this breath to come through. It's a nice medium. So you're holding them kind of close together so that they can still resonate, but without any extra breath to push it out or extra muscling it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Would you
if
say
you're
it's like close to like doing a scale? Like if you're like starting on like C, like I don't know why that feels like evener to me when I think of simultaneous. I think like is that like does that make sense? Sorry, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
No,
That's
okay.
okay.
Because like I feel like I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Never mind.
It's I think I know where you're going, but I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. But let's do a scale with this off onset to test it out. So he was doing ya, right? So we're going from our head voice to down to our kind of chest voice. Let's go ya, not hia or ia, right? It's just ya 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 ya. You feel how they're all starting in here? This is why I do yum yum yums, by the way, and not a lot of people do like mea or something. They start with an M, but it's really the yum is really helpful to start it in here in this simultaneous offset. So let's go down a little bit. Ya 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 ya. So you're never slamming them together. You're never adding extra breath, right? Yeah, 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 yeah,
That makes so
yeah.
much. It's just in between the attack and the breath. It's like the yeah. Okay, I get
Exactly.
it.
Yeah,
I get it.
it's like a mix onset, basically.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
totally. Let's do a couple more. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Does that feel a little better down low, Kimmy? Does that kind of help you get there?
Yeah. I was thinking something. I was playing around with something. That it sounds like it's still possible to, which is not the point of, but yeah, whatever. But it's still possible to make the glottal even with the yeah, right? Like I was trying out something like yeah, 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 yeah. It's like more forced.
That's interesting what you're doing. It is more forced, but you're not actually putting your glottis together. Your glottis is the space
Mm,
between the vocal folds, and it definitely sounds like e. So if you were to add that to the ya, it would be yeah, yeah.
yeah. Oh, it'd be like
It's definitely a
yeah.
harder, it's like very crisp sound, right? Yeah. But what you
Mhm.
were just doing is kind of just moving your tongue more forcefully so that that Y is a little sharper, but still not as sharp as the glottal. So you were doing yeah, 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 which is just more tongue.
Okay, okay. It's not really changing the onset per se.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when we do offsets, it's the ends of the notes, and it's interesting to think about this. So for glottal, my best example is how we say "uh-oh," right? That's both a glottal onset and an offset. So "uh-oh," that in the middle one, the end of that first is a glottal on offset. A lot of times in American English we say but, 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 but I want it. We do that a lot when we're replacing T's with things. We do a glottal instead of a T. We don't do but I want it, but I want it. It shows up in Hawaiian words all the time here. And so it's like there's a okina, that little looks like a backwards apostrophe, but it's their own thing. And it's pronounced in that same way. It's a glottal stop. So it's ho'o, ho'olalea, ho'o. It's that little stop in between. Ho'o. See what I mean? And so that one can show up, like you said, in pop music, oh baby, baby, baby. She stops it. She doesn't go baby. She goes baby. She just stops it with this instead of just stopping it with air, which would be a simultaneous or aspirate. So breathy offset would be more like, let's see, what's a good example? I guess I could just use Brittany again. So if I did breathy offsets for all those, it would be, oh baby, baby, baby. Just sounds like Baby Spice, So just more H sound, more breath coming through the vocal folds, a little further apart, a little lighter, tenderer sound. And then the simultaneous is when you just stop the air. So you're not putting the glottis together, you're not putting extra air down there, you're stopping the air when it comes out. So in that example, it would be, oh baby, baby, baby. There's no extra air, there's no extra, there's just baby. I'm just lifting the sound. I'm stopping the air, and so the sound stops. See what I mean? And then vocal fry would be, oh baby, 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 which is not fun to listen to, in my opinion. Usually vocal fry happens a lot more, I think, at the beginning of words, but who knows? If you find some good examples, let me know. How does that feel? You want to try?
Yeah.
Try just with a nice ha, a nice ah again.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah, that was a glottal and then vocal fry. Good. Mhm.
Ow, 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 ow.
Yeah. Good. Good. Yep. What about aspirate?
La, 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 la.
Yeah.
Oof, that one is like a lot of work to end it with.
With the aspirate, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Simultaneous. Lie, 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 lie. I'm trying to
Totally.
sit and use a Y at the end.
Totally. Yeah. That's a great solution. Yeah, that's what he was doing. He was doing A, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah. Just have to have that Canadian accent in me. Are
A.
you okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Good. And now I mean, you did it before, but try vocal fry at the end.
Okay. Yay. Oh, wait. Hey.
It's weird at the end, I know.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. This is great. You sound like a cartoon character. Ooh, like some posh cartoon character. I love it. Yeah, yeah, totally.
I feel like it's that annoying, like, background. Hi.
Uh-huh. That's the other way I introduce vocal fry is like Valley Girl stereotypical accent. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then let's see, got it. Ah, ah, ha, ha.
Do a little more in the ends of it. You're starting them off that way, but we're talking about the ends right now. So the end should be more like ha.
Ha, ha, ha,
You're actually doing a really nice simultaneous one right now. Just a little more attack on there. Ha.
ha, 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 ha.
That's beautiful simultaneous offset.
Okay, so
But if
I'm
you're
doing
trying to do the glottal, it's not working. So use my example of oh, right? Oh,
oh, oh,
uh.
oh.
There you go. You feel how there's like a pressure
Mm-hmm.
in there? That's that. That's the glottal. Oh.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another good example would be single ladies. Oh, no, no.
Uh-oh, 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 banana.
Yeah, exactly. You hear how there's oh, right? And not oh. That's a nice light
Uh-oh,
ending, but you want a hard ending. Yeah, exactly.
uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh.
Yeah, it's good. Okay.
Okay. And then, what's left? Aspirate?
Mm-hmm. You can just do a ha.
Okay. Um, ha, 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 no.
Put the H at the end. Sorry.
Ah, ah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, but that's
Sorry.
exactly it.
I feel like I have dyslexia for like singing right now. But yeah.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, however you need to think of it. You can draw different pictures if that helps you more. Use my examples of different pop songs, like
What
whatever
was
you
the
need to write down.
song you used for that one before? You did all Britney Spears, right? So like,
Yeah, I did
taste
like
of your lips. Is it like a taste of your lips are all around?
that's pretty aspirate, yeah. I'm on a ride.
My toxic, you're slipping under. Okay.
Yeah, she does a lot of that for sure. She does a lot of vocal fry and aspirate, but I guess not a lot of simultaneous, but who knows? I have to go back and like do some actual scientific research. But yeah, you got them all. Good job, you guys. Very nice. So, point being, these guys are flavor, spice to add in. Don't rely on them, please, because as you said, Kimmy, it takes a lot of work to do that. So now you can kind of see how much work you've been doing subconsciously and how much weight you've been putting on your actual vocal folds, right? So same with vocal fry. Occasionally it's good. Occasionally it's really nice to do therapeutically. Like if you have a lot of phlegm or you've been just getting over sick, it can be nice to do just very light, like 1% power of vocal fry. Like my teacher taught me how to do that. Just like it's almost like a cat purring. Like you're not really making any tone or singing at all. You're just doing the vocal fry because it's a nice low pressure way to get those chords vibrating again. So it's kind of a rehab kind of thing occasionally. But I wouldn't do it every day. Cool? Nicely done. So we read this last time. Sorry.
Wanted to confirm. So where we want to be is in the even place. But the other ones are like stylistic. Do you notice that I'm talking with my vocal fry more now?
Yeah, totally.
So.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of. Sometimes that just happens like in our normal everyday life. I was talking to somebody yesterday about this. Like, she talks on the phone for her job, and she's like from New Jersey, and she like talks like this and very serious, and she's like talks low, and sometimes that results in vocal fry because vocal fry comes from the very bottom of your register, and so you can hear that little rasp in my voice when I'm doing it. And so I told her, like, just think about lifting up your voice a little bit, taking it out of the low. Use, whatever you need to think about. Use your customer service voice, right? Hello, how can I help you? And it'll take you right out of your low vocal fry, just to give yourself some time out of that really harsh environment.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so just unrelated tangent, but I had a very hard time finding my mixed voice. And I feel like that's a cool trick I'm going to use in the future because, like, I don't know, some, you know how you are always saying, like, people say that they have a low voice, but that's not in reality what they just, like, aren't, I don't know.
Yeah,
So
they
I
maybe
feel,
haven't explored the other registers. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And so sometimes I feel like I lose it when I'm, like, focusing too much in a certain area. So
Mhm.
it was cool. Well, not cool, but yeah, it was cool because I just felt oh, there it is. And like maybe is that a good like if I'm oh, like like that's a good way to find it, right? Kind of.
Totally. I think that Y is actually a really good place to start because it puts it nice and forward. And a lot of times, it's a lot easier to tell when you're in your mix when you like don't feel anything, which is kind of nice because when I'm belting, I'm going and I feel like
Mhm.
the power in here. And when I'm in my pure head voice, ah, it's very light and fluffy and up here. But if I'm starting here, the Y puts it forward and I can go, yeah, yeah. That's a nice mix. Yeah. It's not just yeah or yeah, it's yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's a one way to get into your mix. There's many ways, but if that works for you, great. Hold on to it. Cool. So we read a little bit of this the other day, so I won't read the whole thing, but we were talking about double consonants, and I played some examples, so when you watch it, you'll hear those. And I think the best example was hat table. So like when you have the end and the beginning of the next word the same consonant, and we tend to do a glottal on that. Like in American English, we would go hat table, right? It's not hat table. It's not that front breathy T. It's hat, hat table, hat table. You know, the beginning of table is a regular T, but this is hat because for some reason that double consonant, we tend to put more pressure on it just to speed through it a little faster or something, so we don't have to do any extra work. I don't know where it comes from psychologically, but that's a habit that we do have as American English speakers. So we kind of have to think about lightening that up and anything that keeps the airflow going. So this glottal onset and offset stops the air fully because it's such a hard attack of the vocal folds that you're actually closing your throat for a second, half a second, millisecond. And so this is why we don't want to use them very often because we always want to keep that airflow going because if the air stops, then the tone stops or gets wonky, you know? So we want it to be more just more aware of when we have these double consonants to not put so much glottal pressure on them. So in that case, we would want to do hat table because the air continues to flow through that because it goes around the tongue. Hat table. I think another one was grab bag. So when we have a double B, we go grab bag and we close all the way. There's pressure building up for a millisecond. Grab bag. And so we don't want that. We want to keep it moving. So we do a nice light touch of the lips for a B. Grab bag. And I can keep my airflow going. Grab bag. Grab bag. Is that helpful? We also talked about the L's and the R's. If you just do an R sound, notice what your tongue is doing right now. R, tightening up along the side teeth, yeah, in the back. So it's that adds extra tongue tension, which contributes to lower airflow, which gets in the way of your pharynx space. Like it closes up the hole, right, a little bit. L, like I did in the beginning with feel, you can over push that tongue. Feel, and that gets the tongue tense and then brings the tension down into here. So we want all of these to be just like the essence of the consonant. So L, feel, just a quick little tongue touch. Feel. Fear, it's just the essence of an R. I think I said the worst word to sing is world because there's an R, an L, and a D in it, and it's a pain in the butt. And so if you said it, you would go world, and you can feel your tongue tension, right? World. Yeah, not good. So we want to almost get rid of the R and just have a quick little LD at the end. So when I would sing it, it would be a little more British sounding, and it would be world, like part of your world. most of it is just the vowel, pure vowel, right? And then the R is kind of implied. It's more of a than a ah. That kind of gives you the illusion of an R. And then the quick LD at the end. World. See what I mean? So, I wanted to watch these real quick. Is there a link? Yes, I would like to go to the link. Thank you. Okay, so 10, 11, and 12. So here's some detached ahs, which are a great example of that simultaneous ah onset and offset. Hopefully. Just appearing. The sound is just appearing. That's good. We don't need to watch 4 minutes of it, but you hear how it's just nice and even and balanced, and there's no or huh. It's just sound. Ah, ah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a goal to get to. Don't worry if it takes you a little bit to feel into that balance. It's again, we're muscle training, right? We're muscle training these muscles to not do the extreme of each way, and that takes time to remind it that it doesn't have to go all the way in one direction. I don't remember what this is. Let's find out.
ah, 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 ah.
That's more about the vowel.
Oh, 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 oh.
Is that glottal?
It was a glottal onset, but it was also about the vowel. The first one was more ah, and the second one was more ah, which is kind of a widening. So it's correctly and incorrectly. So the first one was correct, and then the other two were incorrect because of the vowel shape and the glottal. Yeah?
Yeah.
And this last one is detached ahs and forced glottal closure.
Ah, 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 ah.
Yeah, so that's forced. So the first couple were just a nice open and close very quickly, not fully attacking. You're just I don't know if I can do it. Hold on. Let me listen again.
Ah, 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 ah.
Yeah, it was just a lighter. So it's still glottal, but it's much less forced. As opposed to uh. Feel the difference? So play around. It's weird stuff. I promise it will come eventually as you're thinking about it. I mentioned this very briefly, but when you're ending things on that simultaneous offset, I want you to think about and just stop in the air. And a visual I really like is grabbing and lift. So it's like you're taking a shopping bag, a plastic shopping bag from a counter. Shoop, grab and lift, easy light, no problem. You're just ending the note by stopping the air, not giving it any extra weight. So, grab and lift. Not letting any breath of air out afterwards, and I'm not forcing it closed. You wanna try it? You can try it with the mic on if you want.
Yeah, like workout for your. Reminds me of like workout cues.
Yeah, totally.
Ah,
Yeah, nice.
ah.
Yeah. Like I said before, when you were doing the offsets, you were doing most of them simultaneously really well. So you got this down. Good. Kim, you want to try? Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, it's just end. You decide when to end and you end. Perfect. Good. This is the thing to remember if this gets ever confusing or overwhelming. Whatever you choose, just commit to it. Don't put too much weight on it and just let it flow. So we were doing single word examples, but when you're in the middle of a song, we have to keep remembering that none of these things are that important. All of them last for a millisecond at best. And so whatever you choose, don't shy away from it, just commit to it, continue on. The music is going to keep going no matter if you use a different onset or offset than you wanted to, and it's okay. We're just keeping the flow happening. And choosing these makes a difference on how your flow happens. So I'll give you an example with Part of Your World, actually. So like in the beginning, she goes, "Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?" She's not separating those words. She's kind of putting them together. So she's using the consonants as just little cuts along the way of the same airflow. Look at this stuff. That's kind of an aspirate offset. Isn't it neat? That's a nice solid T at the end. Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? It's almost like she's combining all that into one word. Wouldn't you think, right? That's three different words, but in American English, we put them together a lot, so it's understandable in that context, right? It's not wouldn't you think or wouldn't you think, right? That would be really too heavy. Wouldn't you think is now one word, nice and easy for your singing voice, for your vocal folds. Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Lots of aspiration on those ending consonants so they're understood but not too heavy. Wouldn't you think I'm the girl? Not too much on the R and the L. Girl who has everything, not everything, everything. Nice simultaneous onset. So you get a little bit of everything in there. Cool? All right. Let's do a little singing and try out these concepts and see how we feel. So we got like 10 minutes for each of you. If you want to sing a little something, you're welcome to take a bathroom break if you want, but I want to give you enough time to sing because I know it's been a little bit. Anybody?
I just feel like singing The Little Mermaid.
Great. Do it.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a great song. It's so fun to belt out. I think it's one of the best Disney songs ever written, honestly.
Which one? Part of Your World?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the other one. What's the other?
Under the Sea?
I love that one too. Yeah, there's so many good ones. Oh my gosh. I also really like Milan, but anyways, should I? Okay, I'll try it. I don't know. Okay, maybe I should find the karaoke version.
I think it's a good idea.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
One of the biggest, most underappreciated investment.
Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything. Look at this trove, treasure. How many wonders can one cabin hold? Look all around here, you think. Sure, she's got everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I've got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I want to be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them again? Feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along on those, what's that word again? Street, up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world. Sorry, it was like
No, you're good. Yeah, it goes fast.
so freaking fast. Sorry.
Yeah. That was lovely. Yeah. How did it feel? Did you notice anything? Any onset things?
There was a lot of the breathy one at certain parts, like you were talking about, and wouldn't you think like I guess that's just because it's like super musically, but like I feel like that strong like change in yeah, like wouldn't you think like a question? It's like more forceful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did it a little more glottally. Yeah, totally. Than I did for sure.
So that's
Yeah,
all.
I noticed some really nice simultaneous onsets in the eyes. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got, you know, I think it
It's
was
like
those ones.
something coming out. It's like that thing you talk about where the voice comes to the front, right? More. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, you're just placing it out here. And when you do that without the need to change the attack of it, yeah, it just comes out nice and easy.
Because there were definitely some parts where I was like, oh, like it was like probably glottal and like a bunch of other like you know when you start a note and then you're like, eh, okay.
Honestly, yeah, that's what I'm talking about flow, you know, whatever you feel coming out in that moment, you kind of got to go with it, right? It's the ultimate mindfulness moment. You have to just be in the moment, whatever comes out and commit to it. Because when you hold back, it ends up being lots of glottal and lots of forcing, right? And you did that really nicely, even if it wasn't fully simultaneous in lots of places. That's the beauty of this, right? It's a spectrum. It's not one or the other or in between. You don't have just three choices. You have infinite choices in the middle. So you can be mostly simultaneous, but maybe slightly glottal. You can be slightly aspirate. You can be anywhere in between.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, let
That's
it
fun.
be.
I'll play with that more.
Yeah, let it be what it is. But yeah,
Cool.
you naturally did it. Just, I think, because we've heard this song so many times, we imitate her and we just naturally do these things. And it's something you don't have to think about so much. I just wanted to bring it to you guys' attention to think about if things start to feel hard or if you want to get a certain emotion out of it, you know. But you did great. You were just like, I want to be where the people are. I want to see. It wasn't it wasn't hi, it was I want to see. You did it naturally.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah. Good. Um, anything else you want to try out on that song?
Um, hmm.
You're welcome to keep going a little bit. We have a little time.
Ready to stand. Okay, we can just. Are you sure? I don't want to like eat or go into.
No, we
No.
got time.
Okay, I'll try.
Got a couple minutes to finish the song. Why not? Betcha on land.
Betcha on them, they'd understand that they don't reprimand their Bright young woman, sick of swimming, ready to stand, ready to know what the people know. Ask them my questions and get some answers. What's a fire and why does it, what's the word again? Burn. When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore up above? Out of the sea, wish I could be part of that world.
Yeah, I love it. I think that should go in your repertoire. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's so beautiful. Like now, I don't know the song, and hearing you sing it, I want to go hear it. I want to hear your version.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good voice or song. Oh my god.
It's a really good voice too. Yours.
Oh,
But
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your vibrato, I think, lends itself really, really nicely to that style, especially.
I'm like imitating Disney songs like forever when I was younger, completely. Like,
Ah, absolutely. I mean, that's how we learn to sing. That's how I've learned to sing is just imitating people, you know. Voice lessons are great, but how I started when I was 5, just
Right.
imitating all the movies I was watching. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, 90s hits, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Lovely.
What are you singing, Kimmy?
oh yeah, I was just saying, yeah, absolutely. Like before when people tell me, oh, you sing so well, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just copying people.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make it any less your voice when you're just copying people. It's still you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
What do you want to sing?
I'm going to try the same song I've been working on just so I can pay attention to the something familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Glottal, glottal, glottal. Get ready for glottal. I'm going to change the speed. Dime por qué tienes carita de pena. ¿Qué tiene mi niña siendo santa y buena? Cuéntale a tu padre lo que a ti te pasa. Dime lo que tienes, reina de mi casa. Tu madre, la pobre, no sé dónde está. Dime lo que tienes, dime lo que tienes, dime lo que tienes, dime la verdad. Mi niña Lola, mi niña Lola, ya no tiene la carita de color de la amapola. Mi niña Lola, mi niña Lola, ya no tiene la carita de color de la amapola. I'll stop it there.
Yeah, beautiful. What did you notice about onsets and offsets?
All the offsets are easier for me to notice and control. Because I yeah, because like it's kind of where I'm going to, but sometimes like I don't know where I'm gonna start. So when the song started, the instrumental was going on, I'm like, how is the song gonna come out? um, so that's one thing I noticed, that it's easier for me to control the offset
Mm-hmm.
than the onset. I think yeah, it's a very interesting tool to start to notice. Um, yeah, so it's still very, I think I'm mostly in the glottal in some parts,
Mm.
but I'm not yet sure. I need to like do it over and over again, sometimes without thinking too much about it, because I think I was thinking a lot about it. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want any of these things that I bring up to you guys to be something that is more work and overwhelming for your brain. I want you just to occasionally, take 5 minutes and practice something and notice without
Mhm.
the judgment and without thinking
Yeah.
I have to go and be perfect about no glottals. That's
Yeah.
not something I want you to take away from this. I want you just to
Mhm.
have a little more knowledge about what is possible,
Mhm.
and so that way you can make better choices instead of being at the mercy of whatever comes out default.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like habits, the one way, or the I don't want to say the better way, or something I found more helpful is to just be aware of it, as opposed to like, it's not about beating myself up like you've done it again. It's just like, okay, you did it. Oh, interesting, you're doing it. Oh, this is when you do it, and slowly.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
just all a science experiment, right? Like, oh,
Mhm.
interesting. No judgment on it. That is interesting.
Mhm.
Why did I do that? Let's go back and try it again because I'm
Mhm.
curious, not
Yeah.
because I need to be perfect or grow immediately.
I really
Mhm.
appreciate you just saying that because I feel like that's something I'm struggling with a lot right now is just like I'm attaching to things too much when I'm like overthinking and then I attach to like that needs to be this, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so I really appreciate you saying it like that. That was a really beautiful way of saying it. Just like, oh, that's how it is. Okay, I noticed that. Like that can go along and I don't need to think about it forever. Like,
Exactly. Just act like a scientist does about things. They
Mhm.
are, doing these science experiments over many years, even though some of the problems that they're trying to solve are pretty important. They can't have all that emotional weight on it. Otherwise, they won't be able to be impartial and objective. Same with our voice. We have to just let it be an observational thing. And then, try a couple of different ways of looking at it differently. Try approaching that passage a couple different ways and say which one felt better, which one felt easier, not putting the pressure on yourself to have to like learn a thing. Just because I'm giving you topics every week doesn't mean you have to like nail it the next
Yeah.
week. So yeah, let it be. You're the observer of your voice. You're just sitting back and watching what comes out, and you can tweak a couple of things and then just see if it's a little different the next time. Remember, we're not using good or bad. I try not to. Not better or worse. We're just, am I achieving my intended goal? Am I achieving my intention or not? Yeah, if that helps. But to get a little more specific for a second, if I may, really, really nice. Like I can tell you've been working on keeping these lines of sound instead of adding that extra aspirate on every note that you change, and it's great. Especially "Dime la verdad." It's so good. I was so proud of you. And the only times when I hear a little bit of that extra tension comes in are on those R's that we were talking about in carita. Yeah. And it feels like there's a want to do a little glottal, carita or something like that. If there's a little bit of extra tension that comes in, I feel like you almost want to like roll it. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't even know what it is. It's like sometimes I'm doing the French R, like that. Sometimes I'm doing the Spanish R. Sometimes, yeah, I don't know. I was playing around with it a lot. I still haven't figured it out.
Mm-hmm. What I
Yeah.
would suggest is to treat it just like any other consonant, like almost like an L. So like you can, especially in Spanish, R's are very much just a quick tongue touch to the top of the mouth, right? Carita.
Carita.
Carita. So it doesn't have to be a whole thing that causes any extra tension in your mouth. It's just a quick tongue touch, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the top roof of your mouth. So, yeah, no tiene la, I don't remember how it goes. Carita instead of carita, you know. I don't want you to get hung up there. It's so quick. Just send it forward like you did the rest of that, right? Any of those. Dime lo que tienes. I want to be the same thing. Dime la verdad. Ya no tiene la carita. Just quickly through that so that you're not putting extra weight on it just because there's an R there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that same line at the end, you feel like you're running out of air.
Which one?
At the amapola.
Oh yeah, ya no tiene la carita, the color de la amapola. Yeah, it's long, and yeah, I was trying to remember to breathe, like break it and breathe before going on the amapola. But
That's a hard one to find a space to breathe in for sure. I would just say don't force yourself into a box that doesn't feel right for you. Like, ya no tiene la carita de color de amapola. Do the grab and lift before you get to the end desperate part of your voice of your breath, you know, before you get to like, oh, I'm really out of air. And that's when these come in. That's when these muscles come in and overdo. I want you just to be okay with it cutting it short if you feel like you are at the end of your breath. Do the grab and lift.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Can you try just a little bit of that Mi Niña Lola real quick before I go?
Okay. With the karaoke?
No, just by yourself real quick.
Okay.
Mi Niña Lola.
Okay. Mi niña Lola. Now
It's higher for sure.
yeah.
Mi Niña Lola.
I feel like this is a lot more comfortable though. Like the key I just tried now.
Yeah, but then the low stuff would be too low.
Yeah, okay. Mi niña Lola, mi niña Lola, ya no tiene la carita de color de la amapola. Sorry.
You're good. It sounded like you had plenty of air. That was great.
It's just funny, like to watch yourself in your habits. It's like Mi niña Lola. So higher, right?
Mi Niña Lola.
Okay. Mi niña Lola, mi niña Lola, ya no tiene la carita de color de la amapola.
Yeah, nice. Doesn't have to be very long. If your breath is done, lift it up. Beautiful. Yeah, I do hear a little bit of that French R in there, so maybe see if you can bring it just a little more forward, a little lighter. Carita. It's almost like a D.
Okay, this
Like
is
an L and a
karma.
D.
I have a friend who we call it in Nigeria, we call it R factor. Like when people say, what's the reason? Like when they can't pronounce the R. So I'm always making fun of my friend who was always saying like reason. What is the reason?
Yeah.
So now that's happening to me.
I don't know. It's just English is a pain in the butt already, and I'm impressed that you've learned all these other languages. So it's pretty good. You know, you're doing all the things you need to do.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I should try. Maybe I can try singing it with a D, like for some time, and then replace it with an R.
Totally, and it can be just a softer version of a D. You know.
Right. Carita.
Yeah.
Carita.
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 It sounds the same. That sounds lovely right there. Yeah.
Okay. Ya no tiene la carita de color de la amapola.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel easier in your mouth?
It does. It does.
Yeah. Keep that in mind.
Like when I do it the way I do it, it's like I'm entering a quagmire, like getting stuck into like, and then I have to come back out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want that in the middle of a super quick word. Not necessary.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're noticing all those things. Cool.
Mhm.
Well, lovely work today. Thank you for being here. And next week, I think we have one more topic about space, and then we're moving on to flow, baby. It's gonna be awesome. So quick little thing about the challenge. If you post on YouTube, post a link in the group every time you do it, so I can see that you did it, and so I can give you feedback if you want. If you don't want feedback, just let me know. If you post on Instagram, there's a link you can post in the group as well. Just be like day one link, and then if you do want to do hashtags, it's kind of nice so we can cheer each other on, so we can find the videos. So let's do hashtag Vocal Magic 60-day challenge. Sound good?
And
Yeah.
wait, so is it like just like however much time you want? I'm sorry, I feel like I missed a little bit. So is it just like short snippets when you can, like every day?
Every day, yeah, exactly. So you can go back and watch the little video that I made of it. But yeah, it's the only rules are at least a minute of different songs every day. No disclaimers, no judgments, just post you singing.
Ooh, okay, okay, yay, cool.
Yeah.
I
And
love
let's
the first challenge stuff that you did. So it's gonna be cool.
yeah, it's gonna be great. So let's start today. Today is day one. Sound good?
Today is my day 3.
Perfect. Yeah, you can stay on your schedule. But yeah, just post them in the group when you do them so we can see and we can cheer each other on.
Okay.
Okay, lovely job. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.